Hey guys, I had a couple questions from people that saw my video growing potatoes in 5-gallon buckets. Well, they noticed my raised bed here made out of cinder blocks, and they were kind of asking what it is. This bed here, it's and although I maybe should have filmed that video somewhere else because this this bed is kind of an embarrassment to me. I mean, on that side of the bed down there, this is a 3 foot wide by about a 15, 20 foot. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 20 foot. So it's a 20-foot bed approximately. And this half of it is a neglected garlic bed. Now, when I say neglected, I'm not saying that I got lazy and just didn't want to do anything with it. I neglected this on purpose because I wanted to see what happens, because I've seen like lots of different kind of alliums like onion and garlic and all these different things just have been neglected before, and they seem to just continue to grow for years and years. So I wanted to plant some garlic in here. I have both hardneck and softneck garlic in here, and I wanted to just let it go just to see what would happen. And it's kind of an interesting experiment that I have going on here. I've let it go for about 2 years. Now I should back up and explain about the hardneck and the softneck. Basically, there are primarily two kinds. I mean, there's like elephant garlic, and that's something totally different. So when I talk about hardneck and softneck, basically softneck garlic is most of the garlic that you're going to see in grocery stores. That white colored garlic with the very thick papery skin on it, and that's mostly what you're going to see in the grocery stores is softneck. That's softneck garlic. The reason is because softneck garlic stores for a long time. You can store softneck for months and months, and so that's why a lot of people like to sell that stuff. Now the hardneck garlic is it doesn't last as long. The skin, the papery skin on the outside is not quite as thick, and it doesn't store as well. So now also the softneck garlic is grown mostly in warmer regions like down south in Southern California, where they have that Gilroy festival. I think it's Gilroy, is it, or Kilroy? I'm not sure where it is, but they have that garlic festival. Someday I'd love to go to that, but I'm always too busy in the summer. But they have a big garlic festival down there, and that's primarily, I believe, all softneck garlic down there. Is it Christopher Ranch, I think, that grows a lot of that garlic down there? But anyways, in the very hot regions, that's where they're growing the softneck. Now up in the northern states is where they grow a lot of the hardneck. Now I'm right in the middle. I'm in zone 7B in Oregon. So 7B, believe it or not, I can grow both. I've tried hardneck and softneck. They both are so prolific here. I've had a lot of people say, no, you have to grow softneck, or you know what? I've grown both. Now the time of year to plant garlic is you want to plant it now. Okay, some people say they plant it in the spring and the early spring, and then by summer they have pretty good garlic. But it's not been my experience. I've had I had one here that like this one here. Okay, this one here is look at how small that thing is. That's about what I get when I plant them in the early spring and expect to harvest in the summer. This is about what I get. Now this one I didn't do that with. This is one of the ones that are in the experiment, but I'll explain this in a minute. But I get small garlic bulbs, and for me, they don't produce very well. It's been my experience that the best time to plant garlic is in the fall, and I always plant it right around Halloween. So that Halloween is kind of like it's on my calendar to plant garlic. While everybody else is trick-or-treating and getting candy, I'm out planting garlic. Garlic basically needs a long period of gestation. I don't know what they call it, but kind of like having a baby, 9 months, right? So they say that garlic is like a baby. It takes 9 months for it to mature. So basically, if I plant it in October, along about the end of June, I'm going to be harvesting garlic. Now, in this bed, like I say, I have both hardneck and softneck, and you'll see here it is in March, and it's starting to grow pretty good. Now, the softneck garlic pretty much just kind of produces this kind of like really thick, thick looks like grass, and it gets kind of tall, and when the garlic is just about ready to be harvested, it kind of starts to get brown and die back. Now, what I like about the hardneck garlic is the hardneck will come up and produce these like stalks, a thicker stalk, and it'll produce what's called a scape, and the stalk is basically called a scape. And I cut the scape off, and then chop it up and use it in stir fry and stuff like that, just like you would green onion. And it's just delicious. Now, there are two schools of thought on that also. Some people say when you cut the scape off, it sends energy into the bulb to help the bulb produce bigger. Some people will say, no, that's not true. Leave the scape on and you get better bulbs. You know what, I haven't seen, to me, I haven't seen a difference, to tell you the truth. But I love to cut the scapes off and use them in stir fry and whatnot. So, now, I also should note that some people have said that some softnecks do produce scapes. That may be the case. They say under the right conditions that you can get scapes out of softneck. That might be true. I don't grow a lot of softneck. I grow mostly hardneck, but there's some softneck in here, and I haven't seen really many scapes on the softneck. But that might just be because, maybe there's a different variety that I'm growing in. Now, within the hardneck and softneck, there are different varieties or types of garlic. So if you go to buy some garlic seed, you want to, look at all the different, there's growing conditions and, how well they do, how big they are, the heat scale, because garlic is, they say mild to hot. I mean, I don't think they have like a Scoville scale or anything like that, like peppers do. But I've got some growing down here that are really, really hot. I can't remember the name, and I think it's some kind of a Japanese name that it's just really hot. And I got it off of, one of the websites like the garlic store or something like that. But anyways, planting garlic is really simple because you take your bulb and you take the cloves off the bulb, basically. Now some people say that you don't have to take the outer skin off. I always do. I take the outer skin off all the way down to the bare bulb. And then when I plant the bulb, the whole clove has an outer skin, but each clove, I make sure that there's nothing on each individual clove is basically what I'm saying. And then the clove is basically, there's a bottom to the clove, and so when you take it off, it has a pointed top. So I basically just take and I shove it into the dirt, like 1 or 2 inches, and then just cover it up. Now some people say it doesn't matter which way the clove is facing, but I've always done it that way and make sure that the pointed end is up on the clove. So you just stick it in and cover it up and keep it watered. And I mean, garlic is the most mindless thing to grow on the planet. I mean, it grows like a weed. I've never had a problem with garlic. And the beauty of garlic too is there are not a lot of pests that will bother garlic. I haven't had one pest bother my garlic, and maybe I'm just lucky. Maybe there's a garlic pest out there that just goes around the country looking for garlic. I don't know. I haven't seen them, but anyways, I wanted to show you this experiment that I've got going on. That's pretty much how you grow garlic. And so now, when it comes time to harvest your garlic, mine usually starts to mature and starts to die back on its own toward the end of June. Sometimes, rarely, if it hasn't been really warm here, it will go into the beginning of July. But for the most part, I can start to see a change mid-June to end of June. And basically what happens is the garlic will start to get kind of brown. It'll get nice and tall. The scapes will come up, or just the leafy green on the softneck, they'll come up, but they'll start to get brown. The biggest mistake that people make is they say, oh, it's getting brown. It's hot out. It must be wilting. It needs water. That's not what it's doing. It is basically coming to its maturity. So when it starts to get, excuse me, did I swallow a bug? Oh well. So when it starts to get mature, it'll start browning. So let it brown. Back off on the watering. Let it get brown as it starts to die back. Let the stalks fall over, because I took a trip one time and I left the guy in charge of my garlic bed and I said, look, this is what's going to happen. And so I gave him the whole instruction, and he calls me and he goes, that garlic is just dying. I've been watering the snot out of it. I've been watering it and watering it. It's just dying. And I just cringed because I came back and, I mean, most of the bulbs had been, they're pretty much rotted, kind of, it was just so soaked. So what you want to do is you want to let them die back. Back off on the watering for, for like a week or so. And then you can even push the stalks over if you want to and kind of help them along. But when the stalks are about 3/4 brown, that's my indication that's time to pull them. Now other people have their own ideas about it, but when my garlic stalks are about 3/4 brown, some people say half brown because they say if you let them in the ground too long, they dry out and they start to crack. Just play with it. If they're half dyed back and you pull them out and they look great, that's good. If or let them go longer if they're not to your satisfaction. But garlic is just it's a lot of it's a guessing game too, because in different climates you're going to find different conditions. So here I'm rambling again, but I wanted to show you this experiment bed. Now these bulbs are not. I'm not growing the garlic in here to produce bulbs because I'm not getting bulbs. Because what's happening is I have so many stalks that are so close together. Now I didn't plant them that way. I planted them about 6 inches apart, and that's what you want to do when you plant your garlic. Plant your garlic, your cloves, about 6 inches apart, and give them room to grow nice and big. But what I did here was I planted them 6 inches apart. But when you look at this bed, you're going to notice that there's big clusters. Now what happened is I let the stalks go because I say this was an experiment. I didn't even hardly weed this bed. When I came along and there happened to be something that was visible, I would just take it and I'd dump it. But what happened was they would send up these big stalks, and the stalks would flower, and I'd get these big flower heads, and there would be seeds on top of the flower head. Now some of them I cut back, but some of them I left. And because I can't eat all the scapes, so some of the scapes I just let them go. Rather than just cut them off and compost them, I let them go to see what they would do. Well, what they did was they produced these big flower heads. The flower heads went to seed, the seeds dropped off right next to the original bulb, and then they sprouted up. So now I've got these clusters of, sometimes 8 or 10 stalks that are coming up. Now they're growing way too close together to produce any kind of a bulb. And I'm okay with that because I'm using this for scapes. And I'm going to bring in closer. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you neglect these. Okay, so this is what I was talking about here. You'll notice the clusters here. I've got, it looks like there's about 15 or 20 plants growing here. And this is what I say happened. This all originated from one garlic clove. And of course it produced a bulb. I didn't pick it. If I would have pulled it that spring, that June or so, I would have gotten a nice bulb, but I didn't. I neglected it. I let it go. It came up. It flowered. It went to seed. It dropped the seeds germinated, and this is what I got. Now, I'm not going to get really any bulbs out of this to speak of. And I'm okay with that because I'm using this bed here as my scape bed. So I let these just grow up, cut them off, and use them in stir fry. You'll notice, look and see, I've got lots of clusters here too, same thing. But I'm okay with that because this little 4-foot section is just for scapes. Now, when I get down here, you notice how much bigger this one here is. I kind of pulled it away a little bit to look at the bulb, and the bulb is getting pretty good size. Now you notice that one is so much thicker. This one here is going to produce, it should produce a nice, good size bulb for me. So that's what a garlic bed, a neglected garlic bed looks like. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. And if you've never tried these scapes, I encourage you to just grow a good a garlic bed and try these scapes. And in the spring, cut them off and eat them, and I think you'll enjoy them immensely. Okay, so this is my garlic bed. Now I also wanted to kind of like step back when I was talking about growing the garlic, the cloves. I failed to mention that when you take a garlic bulb and you split the cloves, what you want to do is take only a few of the largest cloves from that bulb and then plant them. You don't want to plant all of them because from the largest cloves you're going to get the largest bulbs. Now where to get the cloves or the bulbs, I don't recommend people go down to the grocery store. I recommend that you go out to a few websites and look around for for garlic, organic garlic bulbs. They're not that expensive. They're a little pricey at first. It might shock you to pay, $4 or $5, but from that bulb, you're taking a few of the cloves, planting them, and then within a few years, I mean that one clove from that bulb, you're planting it, it turns into a bulb with lots of cloves. And then you take the biggest ones from that. So, let's say that you start with one garlic bulb, and you take one clove, which, you could take, you're probably going to get a few good ones. But if you just take one, you're going to get a clove or a bulb of, let's say, 6 more. You plant those 6, it multiplies into 36, and then 36 times, whatever. And you could see how it just, if you do the math in your head, within just a few years from one bulb, you're going to be overrun with garlic. So, this is basically what I did here. This just started, this whole bed, this 20-foot bed, started from I had 2 bulbs of hardneck and 2 bulbs of softneck. And then I pretty much kind of pulled up my softneck, so I ended up with just a few softneck. But this thing just kept producing, and I got overrun with garlic. I got more garlic. I give garlic away. I had some friends over, a while back, and I was just pulling this stuff up, said, here, take this, give bags of garlic away, because I got so much garlic coming out my ears. And that's why I was able to leave this little 4-foot section into a test garden, because I just got so much garlic I can't use it all. So I got scapes, I got garlic coming out my ears. So I just wanted to encourage you guys to do that. Anyways, grow garlic, and it doesn't take a very big spot. You can take a couple cloves and stick it in the ground at the edge of your property and forget about it, and all of a sudden, a few years later, you're going, wow, look at all this garlic. So now of course you're going to have to, if you want nice big bulbs, you can't neglect it. But if you neglect it, you're still going to get a lot of scapes, and you're going to get all these greens and cut them up. But of course, you're going to have to take care of it if you want the bulbs. But so yeah, grow garlic, guys. Garlic is a wonderful plant to grow, and I want to encourage you all to do it. It's simple, it's mindless, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'd like to see your guys' garlic. If you do grow some, send some pictures, or do a video response to it, and let me see how your beds are turning out. So, all right. Well, there's growing garlic, guys. That's how I do it. Not saying it's the right way, but I'm saying that's the way I do it. So I've had good luck with it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll catch y'all later. Be sure to stop over to growyourheirlooms.com, where we have podcasts, gardening Q&A, tips on year-round gardening, survival gardening, and current projects that are going on.